Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Friday, April the 1st. First day of the new month. We got a big slate for Friday, guys. We got a 10-gamer. So as always, we're going to talk through each one of these 10 games. Since it is a bigger slate, I will try and go a little bit quicker. We're not going to spend a ton of time on each game, just kind of really fly through things, give a brief summary of each team and what stands out to me, taking a first look at this slate on Thursday night. And then as we do go through each game, we will build out an early core. We'll talk about 5 players I specifically like at first look on both Draftkings and on Yahoo. Now, as always, before we get started, guys, hit that like button down below. I do always appreciate the likes. And if you are new to the channel here, make sure you click that subscribe button as well. Appreciate all you guys that have subscribed. We did recently hit 25,000 subscribers. Greatly appreciate you guys helping me reach that milestone. We've been continuing to grow this channel. I'm trying to put out content as much as I can for you guys. I appreciate all your support as always. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Also, go check out the sponsor of the video, Prize Picks. So Prize Picks, if you haven't heard of them, they're a player prop based DFS site where you're picking the over or the under on players' projections. It is very easy to use. You can take a look at their board for Friday's games. You can see all the projections they have posted. At the time I'm making this video, obviously there's not much up because I record these videos the night before. But as we get closer to tip-off on Friday night, as we get closer to the start of the games, you'll see a lot of projections up. You can make your selections over or under. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 5 picks, and you can win up to 10 extra money on Prize Picks. Give them a try if you have not yet. Make sure to sign up with promo code NOAH. They will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. And as always, greatly appreciate Prize Picks sponsoring these videos and supporting the channel. Huge shout out to them. If you're new to Prize Picks, definitely get over there, sign up with that code so you get that deposit bonus. But let's talk through Friday's 10-game slate. Going to start off with the Mavs and Wizards game. So looking at Dallas today, pretty good spot here against the Wizards, who really haven't been playing much defense lately. They've not been a great defensive team. So I think Luka on this slate looks like a very solid pay-up option. This is a slate where we do have a lot of value, specifically from one team that we'll talk about later in the video. There's a lot of value on this slate, so it's going to be very easy to go stars and scrubs. And obviously Luka is someone that we can always pay up for. He's got massive upside. He can put up a huge game any night. The Wizards are not going to have any answer for Luka. If this game can stay close, you would have to think Luka's probably putting up a big game. I don't see any way Washington slows him down. So definitely like Luka today, for sure one of the better pay-up options. Not much else stands out from Dallas, though. I really just don't ever play these other guys when Luka's healthy, and on a big slate like this, just going to be Luka for me, and that's probably it from Dallas. Now, on the other side with Washington, so you got Porzingis coming in at 9K. Obviously, revenge game for him against the Mavs, his former team. I expect Porzingis to play well here. His role has been really, really good so far with the Wizards. He's been a very high usage player. He's been very productive as well. Without Kyle Kuzma, the usage just it goes even high, or it's even higher for Porzingis. Obviously, Kuzma's out once again, so at 9K, I think Porzingis has the upside to pay off this price tag. Now on this slate, he's not going to be someone that I prioritize building my lineup around. But if I'm making a lineup and I have 9K left for forward or 9K left for the util spot, I would be fine plugging in Porzingis. I think as the last guy in, I'm fine putting him in there. Don't know if he's going to be someone I build around, though. Definitely think at 9K, though, he has the upside to pay off this price tag, especially just with how good his role is right now. And if you want to factor in, the revenge game against his former team, you could do that as well. But outside of Porzingis, I'm not loving too much else on the Wizards. This is another team when they're with how they're set up. It's just like Denny Avdia, KCP, Rui. These guys just don't offer a ton of upside. Denny Avdia is someone I've kind of been playing lately, but on a big slate like this, I think there's just better value plays out there that give you more upside. So not super excited about a $5,500 Denny Avdia. Satoransky has been playing pretty well in the starting lineup, and he had a really good game last game, put up 32 Draftkings points in 27 minutes. He did that without scoring a single bucket. Satoransky literally had 0 points last game and scored 32 Draftkings points. That's a Draymond Green type of stat line. He had 13 assists and 10 rebounds, and that was it. That was his stat line last game. It's crazy. The dude's not really going to shoot the ball much, but he can get those peripheral stats. His assists have been really, really good. Again, it's one of those value plays that on this kind of slate, I don't think it's someone I'm going to build around. But as the last piece, I'm fine with Satoransky, and that's really it from Washington. So let's move on to the next game, Toronto and Orlando. So looking at the Raptors here, the Raptors are pretty much fully healthy right now. Their main 5 starters are all healthy. When their main 5 starters are all healthy, they obviously all have upside, and we know if this game is close, Toronto is going to play their starters big minutes. You should expect 35, 36 minutes from all 5 of Siakam, VanVleet, Scotty Barnes, OG, and Trent. But again, on this slate, do these guys stand out as priority plays for me? I don't think so. I think if I was playing a lot of lineups, I would just kind of be sprinkling in some Siakam, sprinkling in some Van Vliet. Not super high on Scotty Barnes at his price tag. He's definitely like my least favorite Raptor. OG at 6K, his minutes have been back to normal, so I think at 6K, like he's got the upside to pay off this price tag now that he's playing full minutes. And then Gary Trent, he's a very inconsistent player, but when he gets hot from the field, he can always put up a good game too. But again, like there's just not much I'm loving on the Raptors today. Now that they're getting back to full strength, I don't see a ton that I love here. And then on the other side with Orlando's one of the teams, I'm just like not even touching right now. I mean, the way they're spreading out the minutes, this is just a team I don't really want to be betting on. Wendell Carter Jr. is questionable for this game. If he sits out, that's obviously a bump for Mo Bamba. It's a bump for Chumo Kiki. But again, like last game, Cole Anthony played 25 minutes, and it wasn't even really a blowout. They only lost by 17. Like, that was a game where he probably should have played some in the fourth quarter, but he really didn't. Mo Bamba played 22 minutes. Like, they're just really playing their bench guys a lot. You're seeing Mo Wagner, get decent minutes off the bench. You're just seeing so many guys play. Like, they're literally playing every player. Like, I think they're running like a 12-man rotation every game right now. This is just a team that I'm just really not going to look to roster much of. I think if Wendell Carter's out, like Mo Bamba has a big ceiling because he should be productive when he's out there, but he's only playing like 22 minutes right now. If Mo Bamba would play 33 minutes, I'd really have a lot of interest in him, but the minutes just aren't there. Same for Cole Anthony, same for Franz Wagner. Like I think I'm out on the Magic right now, and especially on a big slate like this with so many other options, I just don't think we need to go there. So no interest in Orlando for me. Let's move on to the next game, Indiana and Boston. So Indiana, I mean, you can literally see it on the screen. Like half the fucking team is questionable right now. Malcolm Brogdon is questionable, and he's been out for rest. I mean, I don't even know why they're listing him questionable for rest. He's rested for like a week now. You would think he's well rested. But Malcolm Brogdon is questionable. O'Shea Brissett is questionable. Goga Batadze is questionable. I think Isaiah Jackson is questionable. Like there's just so much up in the air right now for Indiana. I think the only way that I'm going to be looking to get to any Indiana guys is if like all these questionable guys are out. Because if all these questionable guys are out, then then things are going to be really thin. They're going to have to run a really tight rotation. But this is a super tough matchup against Boston. They're having to go on the road to face the Celtics, who obviously could beat the crap out of Indiana here. This game has a lot of blowout risk. Just don't see much I'm liking here. Maybe if like Brissett and Goga and Jackson are all out, then we could look to like Jalen Smith because he would have to play a lot of minutes. Terry Taylor would have to play a lot of minutes. Terry Taylor did start last game and played 36 minutes. So like if Terry Taylor starts again at 4,800, he's in play for me as a value option. But that's all going to depend on if Brissett plays, if Goga plays. If all these questionable guys are in, probably just going to be full fading Indiana. Just not a team I want to be rostering on a 10-game slate, especially in a tough matchup against the Celtics. And then on the other side with Boston, so really good matchup here for Boston. There's obviously blowout risk, as we mentioned. But if this game does somehow stay close, like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, one of these guys probably has a really good game because Indiana's defense has just been terrible. It's definitely a good spot for both these guys. But I do worry about blowout risk. I don't think these guys play their full minutes just because I don't really see how Indiana is going to be able to keep this game close. They're not a good team. But if you want to go to Tatum or Brown as low-owned options, I don't hate it. Probably my favorite play from Boston is Al Horford. Without Robert Williams, Al Horford will play all of his minutes at center. And he's really productive when he plays center. Last game, he played 34 minutes, and he had 36 Draftkings points, 6 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, and 2 steals. Al Horford, even at this point in his career, he is still a guy that can be productive, especially when he plays his minutes at center. When he plays the 4, he's not as productive. His rebounding numbers aren't as good, but his rebounding numbers see a big spike when he's playing center, and we saw that last game. Obviously, this matchup against the Pacers is really, really good. The Pacers have just been getting killed by bigs this year. So I really like this spot for Al Horford. I think he might be my favorite play on Boston if I had to play anyone on the Celtics. And that's really all that I'm looking to here. So let's move on to the next game, Sacramento and Houston. So now we're getting to one that looks really appealing. So these teams did just play pretty recently, I think on Wednesday. It was a really high-scoring game. It was a close game as well. We saw Davion Mitchell have a really big game. He put up 44 DK points, played 39 minutes. I think it's once again a great spot for Davion Mitchell. I talked about him on Wednesday's slate as being a really good play, and obviously exact same matchup. Like I don't think Davion Mitchell's a bad play at all. I mean, even at 8K, I think this price tag is about right for Davion Mitchell, but he does have the upside to pay off this price tag just with how many minutes he's getting right now, with how many shots he's taken. His usage is just so high that I think even at 8K in this matchup, Davion Mitchell could put up 50 Draftkings points and still pay off this price tag. So I'm still interested in Davion Mitchell. Harrison Barnes was kind of a chalky bust last slate. He played 35 minutes but didn't really do anything. He only had 19 Draftkings points. This is one of those scenarios where I think it's fine to go back to Harrison Barnes just because the matchup is so good. The minutes should be there. he'll be much lower owned than he was last slate. I don't think Harrison Barnes is nearly as good of a play on today's slate as he was last slate, but the ownership is going to be way lower on him. So if you want to go back to Harrison Barnes, I don't hate it. Trey Lyles at 6K, I think is priced about right. Dante DiVincenzo at 5,600, I think is priced about right as well. Do want to mention Damian Jones just because he went nuts when these teams played Wednesday. Played 34 minutes and had 52 DraftKings points from Damian Jones, 24 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 blocks, and a steal. I think with him putting up such a big game last game in this same matchup, his ownership's probably going to be a little bit inflated today. The price tag's also come up a little bit to 5,500, but I still think Damian Jones is a pretty good option here. Should play big minutes if it's a close game. Obviously, the matchup is really good, so I'm fine going back to Damian Jones. I think him and Davion Mitchell are my 2 favorite plays from Sacramento. And if you want to go back to Harrison Barnes, I don't hate that either. But that's it for the Kings. And then on the Rockets side, still no Christian Wood and not John Wall, but Christian Wood, who's done for the season. Dennis Schroeder out for the season. Eric Gordon out for the season. So basically, we're getting the same situation that we had last game. We should see massive roles for Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green. Both those guys played huge minutes. Kevin Porter Jr. played 38 minutes, had a triple-double, 70 DraftKings points. The price tag came up to $7,500, but I think rest of season, without Christian Wood and without Dennis Schroeder, Kevin Porter Jr.'s role is just going to be absurd. As long as the Rockets can keep games close, I think Kevin Porter Jr. will play 36 minutes on a nightly basis. He's played 36 and 38 minutes in back-to-back games. I would think this game stays close and we're going to get big minutes once again from KPJ. So I definitely like going back to KPJ. Şengün was out last game, so this will be something to monitor. He is questionable for today. If Şengün plays, I think he's a really good option as well. We know Şengün is a good point-per-minute player, and obviously without Christian Wood, you would expect Şengün to start, probably play around 30 minutes, maybe more. Matchup's really good against Sacramento. I mean, we saw what Bruno Fernando did to them last game. Imagine what Şengün could do. So I definitely think if Şengün plays, he's a very good option at 6,900. I like him quite a bit. Even Jalen Green, I don't mind. Jalen Green had a big game last game, 40 DraftKings points in 37 minutes, took 25 shots. Back-to-back games now, Jalen Green's taken 24 and 25 shot attempts, so clearly the usage for Jalen Green is going to be really good rest of season. And like I said, I think him and KPJ, they're going to both have some big games, the rest of the season because they're just getting so much opportunity right now and they're playing so many minutes. Definitely think Jalen Green's in play. That's probably it from Houston. Jae'Sean Tate was a popular play last slate, and he was a big disappointment. Played a lot fewer minutes than I thought he would. He only played 24 minutes. I thought he was going to get around 30 minutes, but he only played 24. Going to be tough to go back there. I obviously would expect Jae'Sean Tate to be basically unowned on this slate, so it's always fun to go back to a player after they busted his chalk because no one's going to play him, and the situation hasn't really changed for Tate. It's just that the price tag's gone up. If Şengün plays, then that might change some things. I really wouldn't be as interested in Tate if Şengün plays, but if Şengün's out, I could still see taking a shot on Jae'Sean Tate because nobody's going to play him, and obviously he was a really good play last slate. Nothing's really changed for today. It's obviously the same matchup, just price tags came up. And then KJ Martin was a really chalky value last slate, and he was solid. 24 minutes, 20 DraftKings points. He also didn't play as many minutes as I thought he would. I thought he would get 28, 30 minutes, and he only played 24. If Şengün sits again, I don't mind going back to KJ Martin, but I just think there's better value today. And Josh Christopher should play 25, 30 minutes off the bench. He played 24 last game. Another fine value play, but we're going to talk about these Memphis guys. Memphis is the team where we can really find value. And then you do have Garuba and Fernando. So Garuba started at center in place of Şengün. He played 26 minutes, and then I think Fernando played the other 22 minutes. Yeah, 22 minutes for Fernando. So maybe if you want to go to one of these guys, it's fine. Obviously, Fernando was really productive in the 22 minutes he played. Maybe since he was so good last game, maybe they start him over Garuba if Şengün doesn't play. So maybe if Fernando starts, I'd feel a little bit better about him. But in general, I think I'm really looking at KPJ, Jalen Green, and then if Şengün plays, I do like Şengün quite a bit. But that's it for this game. Let's move on to the next one, Phoenix and Memphis. So Phoenix today, definitely a game that does have some blowout risk because if you haven't checked the news, Memphis is basically sitting everyone. I think Memphis did clinch the 2 seed in their most recent win. So this is basically the rest of their games. Rest of their games are kind of meaningless. I think they're going to be taking it a little bit easy on their starters, and obviously they're sitting basically all their starters today. So this game does offer some blowout risk, but if it can stay close, we know Devin Booker and Chris Paul both have big-time upside. I think this price tag on Chris Paul is pretty appealing at $8,300. Chris Paul was kind of a disappointment last game against Golden State. Did play 33 minutes, only had 31 DraftKings points. But the 2 games before that, since he's come back from injury, 46 and 50 DraftKings points from CP3. Really hasn't skipped a beat. He was really productive in those first games back. I think at 8,300, like Chris Paul's a fine tournament option here. He should be very low owned on this slate. DeAndre Ayton going up against probably Brandon Clark and Xavier Tillman. Like, this is definitely a good spot for DeAndre Ayton, but on a 10-game slate, I don't think he really stands out. That's probably it from Phoenix. Like, I think if you're playing anyone on Phoenix, you're probably playing Booker or Paul, maybe Ayton, and that's probably it. And then on the other side with Memphis, so this is where we get all of our value for today. Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., Tyus Jones, and Steven Adams are all doubtful for today. So none of them are expected to play, and John Morant has already been ruled out. So from my understanding, I don't know exactly how many players Memphis will have available, but they will have Brooks, Melton, Anderson, Clark, Williams, Conchar, Tillman, Aldama, and then who else? Like, I really don't know. Like, besides Aldama, like, I don't know who else is in the rotation. Like, is this Buchanan guy in the rotation? Like, I've never heard of him. Shaq Buchanan, never heard of him. Tyrell Terry hasn't played since December, so I don't think he's on the roster. Like, I think they have. I know they have 8 players. They're gonna have Brooks, Melton, Anderson, Clark, Williams, Conchar, Tillman, and Aldama. Those are gonna be 8 players that they have. Don't know about anything else. Like, I don't know who else is available. Pons, I think Pons has been in the rotation. He was transferred to the Grizzlies on Saturday, so like maybe he's available. Maybe that would give them 9 players. Jarrett Culver might be available. I think Jarrett Culver will be available, so that's definitely 9. Shaq Harrison, I don't think is going to be available. No, so I think they'll have 9 players at least. Culver being the 9th. Maybe Pons is available, and that would give them 10. But you should expect a pretty thin rotation here for Memphis. I mean, they're going to be missing basically their entire starting lineup. Very surprising that Bane, Triple J, Tyus Jones, Adams are all sitting, but Dillon Brooks is playing. Like, I don't understand that. Like, why wouldn't they just sit Dillon Brooks as well? But Dillon Brooks is expected to play, and I think he's going to have a massive role here. I mean, as long as this game is close and he plays his full minutes, I mean, Dillon Brooks' usage should be absurd playing with all these guys. I mean, his usage rate without Ja is already really good. Now you take everyone else off the floor. Dillon Brooks should just have all the opportunity in the world. So I think he's a really good play today. I think there's a little bit of risk going to Dillon Brooks because you're going to need the game to stay close. But if it does, I think Dillon Brooks has big time upside just because his usage is going to be so high. DeAnthony Melton, I'm expecting to start at point guard, and we know DeAnthony Melton can be really productive when he gets minutes. He's been a productive player off the bench, and now you're taking basically the 2 starting point guards out of the lineup, so that should allow for Melton really to just play as many minutes as he can handle. 5,200, I think, is too cheap for Melton. Like, with his role that he's going to have today, he should be 7K. I mean, he's too cheap. 5,200 for Melton. Looks like a great play. On Yahoo, he's $16. Looks like a great play over there. So love DeAnthony Melton. I'm expecting Kyle Anderson to start at the 4. I think Kyle Anderson's a great value play. We know Kyle Anderson can be productive when he gets minutes, and obviously there's going to be just so much usage available with all these guys out. So I'm very high on Kyle Anderson as a value at 4,100. Again, he's very cheap on Yahoo, $12. Like him a lot over there as well. And then I'm expecting Brandon Clark to start at center in place of Steven Adams, and we know Brandon Clark can be productive when he gets minutes. He's basically just been the backup 5 this season, but when he's gotten minutes, he's been really productive, and you would obviously think he probably plays 28 to 30 minutes here at only 4K, power forward and center eligible. He's a top value play as well. Like, there's just so much good value on Memphis today. You're basically just going to have to load up on this team. I mean, there's no other way around it. I think the whole starting lineup is literally in play. I'm expecting the starting lineup to be Melton, Brooks, Anderson, Clark, and Williams. Williams, I'm not as high on just because I think he's not the best point per minute player. But these 4 guys, Melton, Brooks, Anderson, Clark, I think are all really good plays. Even like Conchar off the bench, I don't hate. We've seen Conchar be productive when he gets minutes. So like you could go to Conchar for value, but this is all going to depend on starting lineup. Starting lineup will be very important. I feel pretty confident that these 4 guys here will start. Who's going to be the 5th starter? Maybe Williams, maybe Conchar. But there's going to be so much value to go to from Memphis when you're sitting, basically your entire starting lineup, and the price tags did not adjust for that. It's a team you just kind of have to load up on. There's no way around it. You're probably going to be playing at least 3, maybe 4 Grizzlies in every lineup today. And if you're not playing 3 to 4 Grizzlies in every lineup, you might as well just not even play the slate because you're just going to lose. So really like these Memphis guys. I think these are probably my favorite ones, but going to be a team you for sure want to load up on. Next game, though, let's move on to the Clippers and the Bucks. So looking at the Clippers today, they are on a back-to-back, and this will be something to monitor because the Clippers, when they are on back-to-backs, we have seen them rest guys before, and obviously Paul George is coming back from injury, so honestly, I'd be surprised if Paul George plays today. I think there's a pretty good chance he rests. But if he does play, I mean, he's going to have a big-time role. He's been really good in the 2 games he's played since coming back from his injury. Obviously wasn't great on Wednesday against or Thursday against Chicago, but did have a big game in his first game back against Utah. I think Paul George on this slate would be nothing more than just a contrarian option, but if he plays, he's viable. Reggie Jackson seems to be like no longer on a minutes limit. I mean, Ty Lue said he's going to limit Reggie Jackson to 32 minutes the rest of the regular season, and Reggie Jackson has played 37 and 40 minutes in back-to-back games. So I have no idea what to expect here. I really think that the Clippers might just full-on punt this game. Like, I could see them sitting just everyone. I mean, so Marcus Morris and Nicholas Batum were both questionable, and they played. Like, I'd be really surprised if they played today. I really think the Clippers are going to, sit everybody today. There's just going to be probably a ton of value from the Clippers. Right now, though, we just kind of have to expect everyone to play. And if everyone is playing, this is not a team I really want to get a ton of exposure to, but it is worth noting that Reggie Jackson's minutes have been very high lately. It doesn't seem like he's on a minutes limit anymore, so maybe you could go there. That's probably it, though, from the Clippers. I really don't love much on this team. This is going to be a team we have to monitor for injury news because I think there's a very good chance you'll see a lot of guys get rested for the Clippers today. And then on the other side with the Bucks, the Bucks are another team on a back-to-back here. Anytime Milwaukee's on a back-to-back, there's always concern about rest for them as well. And if the Clippers rest all their starters or something, I would not be surprised if Milwaukee does the same and rest all their starters. But for now, just going to expect everyone to play if that's the case. I think Giannis on this slate looks like a great pay-up option, assuming he plays today. I mean, back-to-back games now, Giannis has been amazing. 75 and 70 Draftkings points against Philly and against Brooklyn. He's been playing huge minutes as well. As long as the Clippers can keep this game close, I would think Giannis plays pretty big minutes once again. The Clippers don't have anyone to stop him. They'll probably put Paul George on him, but I think Giannis can dominate in any matchup. So definitely like Giannis today if he plays. The rest of the Bucks, though, I don't really see anything else I'm looking to on the Bucks. I think it's just Giannis for me, and that's probably it on Milwaukee. But this Clippers Milwaukee game. This could be a G League game. I really feel like this could turn into a G League game, and we just see everyone get rested here, just because both these teams are on back to backs. But we'll have to monitor it. For now, just gonna expect everyone to play. But let's move on to the next game, Detroit and OKC. So this is another G League game, except there's no one out right now. It's just these teams are really bad. On the Detroit side, I will give them some credit. They actually have been playing pretty well lately, and they did actually beat the Sixers on Thursday, which was a huge upset. Detroit's on a back-to-back, so we'll kind of have to monitor the injury report, but I would think no one's probably going to sit here. Cade Cunningham at 9K doesn't really stand out today. Not on this slate, just so many other pay-up options I'd rather get to. You have immense value today, so I think I'm kind of looking at plugging in these Memphis values and then building around Jokic, building around Giannis. You got Luka. That's kind of the way I'm looking to go today. But 9K for Cade, he's always got the upside to pay off this price tag. I do want to mention that Marvin Bagley did get injured in Thursday's game and did not return, and it's already been reported that he's unlikely to play. So with Marvin Bagley expected to be out, we could maybe see more minutes for a guy like Kelly Olynyk. I don't know who would start for Bagley, but Kelly Olynyk did play really well in Thursday's game. 21 minutes, 28 DK points. If by some chance Kelly Olynyk starts, he's going to be probably one of the best value plays as well, because Kelly Olynyk's a great point per minute player. You would think the minutes would be pretty good if he starts, but right now, I'm not loving much on the Pistons, but I do want to keep an eye on the starting lineup because without Bagley, who replaces him? It could be Olynyk, it could be Braxton Key, it could be Isaiah Livers. We'll have to monitor that. Could maybe get some value from Detroit. But now on the other side with OKC. So OKC right now, they're running an 8-man rotation every game because they only have 8 available players, and Trey Mann has already been ruled out for today, so that's going to leave them with 8 bodies. Normally, when it's an 8-man rotation, you kind of want to attack that, but I will say the price tags have kind of adjusted now. Like Poku is 7K, Maudon's almost 7K, Roby's 6,500, Wiggins is 5K. You can still go to some of these guys because with it being an 8-man rotation, there's going to be big minutes for most of these guys. Like Maudon played 34 minutes last game. I know Roby played decent minutes, 34 minutes from him. Poku didn't play as much, only 29, but there's just going to be so myour minutes available for these guys that it's fine to kind of mix and match these OKC guys, kind of pick a few and maybe play a few, sprinkle a few across all your lineups. I don't know if there's going to be any core plays coming from OKC for me, just because the price tags have gotten up there. But these guys are still viable just because they're going to play so many minutes, and with only an 8-man rotation, most of these guys, most of them would probably get blowout run too if this game by somehow turns into a blowout. You might get blowout run from these guys as well. So I think OKC, outside of probably JRE and Sarr, I'm probably not playing those guys. Sarr's basically been like the backup 5. He did play 26 minutes last game. He did get some run alongside Roby, so that's at least good to see. But JRE's on a limit right now, so I'm not playing JRE. I think everyone else though is viable. Maybe like the Krejci might be like my favorite. Like he's been playing good lately. He's been playing good minutes as well. He's only 4,300. Like you can maybe go to Krejci. But yeah, I'm not loving these OKC guys. I think Memphis, provides better value. I think these Memphis guys just have better upside. But if you want to sprinkle in some of these OKC guys, I think it's fine because when you're running an 8-man rotation, there's just a lot of minutes available, as we mentioned. But let's move on to the next game, Portland and San Antonio. So on Portland today, they're another team that's pretty depleted right now, but they do still have a good amount of bodies. I think they have still like 11 or 12 available players. And Portland's another one of these teams that's just kind of spreading out the minutes right now. So I'm kind of just all playing Portland guys. I think this game does have some blowout risk too, just because of how bad this Portland team is. San Antonio, they're really fighting for the playoff position right now, so San Antonio is going to be going all out to win this game. Definitely has some blowout risk. With how the minutes are getting spread out right now, I really don't see much I like here. Drew Eubanks has been like the best of all the Portland guys, but he's also almost 8K, so not super high on Eubanks with almost a 8K price tag. Yeah, I'm not really looking to Portland, man. I mean, they're spreading out the minutes so much that nobody really stands out from Portland, and there's blowout risk as well. On the San Antonio side, I think DeJounte Murray is a really good pay-up option here. As long as this game can stay close, which is a big if, I think DeJounte Murray could absolutely crush. Last time they did play Portland, it was a big-time blowout, and DeJounte Murray only played 30 minutes. He still had 48 DraftKings points in 30 minutes. Like, Portland is going to have no answer for DeJounte Murray. He should just destroy them. It's just a matter of can Portland keep the game close to where DeJounte plays his full minutes. If the game stays close, DeJounte is going to play 38 to 40 minutes, and we've seen that be the case the last 3 games. So maybe if you play DeJounte, maybe you run it back with someone on Portland. I don't think you have to do that. But if the game can stay close, I think DeJounte offers a ton of upside because, like I said, the matchup is just so good. Don't know if I'm going to anyone else on San Antonio, though. Really, it's just DeJounte I'm looking to here. So let's move on to the next game, Minnesota and Denver. Minnesota, they're a team that I'm kind of just fine fading right now. We know Minnesota's going to play their main guys big minutes. Cat, Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell should play big minutes if it's a close game. But the matchup against Denver is not one I'm super high on. Don't want to really attack. The price tags all seem about right as well. Anthony Edwards always has that big ceiling and can put up a big game any night. He has been good back-to-back games, 41 and 44 DK points. So Anthony Edwards is playable. D'Angelo Russell's price tag has come down a lot, but he's also been really terrible lately, so I'm not super high on D'Angelo Russell. Don't love the matchup for Cat going up against Jokic, but I will say that Cat did have a big game against Jokic early this year. I know they played somewhat recently. I think Cat had almost 55 or 60 DraftKings points. Let me see if I can find it. They played on February 1st. It was a blowout. Cat only played 28 minutes. He had 54 DK points. He did great against Jokic that day, but I'm not really looking to many Denver guys today. Don't see much here. Or Minnesota, excuse me. And then on the Denver side with Denver, so I think Jokic at 12.5 is my favorite pay-up option. I say this in every video. Any slate Jokic is on, he's probably going to be my favorite pay-up option just because he's been so consistent. He just has so much upside, and the entire Denver offense just runs through Jokic. So I think Jokic is the guy I'm trying to pay up for today. And just with how much value we have on this slate, it's really easy to get Jokic in. You could probably play Jokic and Luka or Jokic and Giannis. There's enough value to make it work today. So definitely Jokic is one of the top pay-up options here. Matchup against Cat, I think, is one that Jokic can easily succeed in. He's been good against Cat this season, averaging 60 DK points per game through 3 games against them. And obviously one of those games on February 1st was a blowout. So I think Jokic is gonna play big minutes here. The role's been absurd. He's just crushing every single night. 67 DraftKings points in 4 out of his last 5 games. Jokic is obviously a stud. I think you guys all know that. Outside of Jokic, though, I just really don't think I'm going to anyone else on Denver. It's a big slate. I really don't think I'm going to roster Aaron Gordon or Will Barton or Monte Morris. Just Jokic, and that's it for me on the Nuggets. And then last game of the night, really big game for playoff implications, for play-in implications, the Pelicans and the Lakers. So looking at the Pelicans, really good matchup here going up against the Lakers team that defensively has just been terrible. CJ McCollum at 8.6, I'm not super high on, especially with Brandon Ingram back. I think that does hurt McCollum enough to where McCollum is not someone I'm going to be prioritizing at this price tag. Like the matchup for J-Val, but it is worth mentioning that the Lakers should be getting Anthony Davis back today. Anthony Davis does plan on playing, so with Anthony Davis coming back, I think it's a little bit of a tougher spot. But J-Val, he's still been able to succeed even in tough matchups, and we know the upside's always there for him. The minutes are going to be there too. Last time they played the Lakers, he played 37 minutes. We've seen the minutes really be up there for J-Val the last few games. So I think if this game's close, we're going to get 35, 36 minutes from J-Val. No issues there. Brandon Ingram, I think, is a fine tournament play at 7,600. Between him or McCollum, I think I'd rather take the savings and play Ingram at 7,600. And that's really all that I'm looking to on the Pelicans. Not much stands out here outside of the main three guys. And then on the other side with the Lakers, so looks like LeBron and Anthony Davis most likely are both going to play today. We did get word that Anthony Davis plans to return for this game for Friday. And then the word is that LeBron is hopeful that he can play Friday. So with the Lakers and their playoff implications right now, with them being the 11 seed and needing to win games to get in the play-in, I mean, if they want to get in the play-in, they're going to have to win a lot of these, a lot of the remaining games they have in their schedule. And the Pelicans are one of those teams that they're right there in the standings with. I think the Pelicans are like the 9 seed right now. So this is definitely a big game for the Lakers. They need to win this game if they want to even make have a shot at making the play-in. So I would expect LeBron and Anthony Davis to both play. If LeBron and Anthony Davis are both playing, then obviously it takes everyone else out of play. I mean, because when LeBron and AD are healthy and playing, you just can't go to Westbrook. You can't go to Malik Monk. Carmelo doesn't offer enough upside. Dwight Howard's minutes are going to come way down. Yeah, I don't know if LeBron and AD are going to be on minutes limits or not. We really haven't heard anything there. It's a tough situation right now. I'm expecting both guys to play. They might be limited. Even if they are limited, I'm just not going to roster anyone. If they're full go, and 8,900 for Anthony Davis is pretty cheap if he's full go, but I doubt he would be in his first game back from a foot injury. They're probably going to be on some sort of minutes limit for him. So yeah, I just really think the Lakers are probably a full fade today if LeBron and AD both play, which I think will be the case. If LeBron and AD by some chance don't play, then yeah, we can go back to Westbrook, go back to Malik Monk. Dwight Howard would be a good value, but that's just news we don't have right now. So wait and see now for the Lakers. Like I said, we kind of broke it down. If LeBron and AD are in, I'm not looking to really anyone there. So that's it for that game, and that's it for these 10 Friday night games. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, appreciate you watching. If you guys enjoyed, hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. Go check out the sponsor of the video. As we mentioned at the beginning, you can sign up for the sponsor of this video, PrizePicks. Sign up for PrizePicks. Use code NOLA. When you do, PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. And you can take a look at PrizePicks platform. You can take a look at their props, see what they have available for Friday's games. As we get closer to tip-off Friday night, usually, I want to say like a couple hours before the first game starts, you'll see all the props up. You'll see all the plays posted. You can make your selections over or under, make 2 picks, or you can make up to 5 picks, and you can win up to 10 extra money. So give PrizePicks a try. If you guys have not yet, make sure to sign up with promo code NOLA so you do get that deposit bonus when you sign up. But that's it for this 10-game slate, guys. Appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoy your Friday night. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you guys back here on Monday. Appreciate you guys watching. See you in the next one. Peace.